Radiant team bad. Dire team bad. Radiant team bad. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Impossible.
Dire team bad. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick. Tide Hunter. Seconds remaining.
Holding up fine, Mike. This should be a pretty good matchup for YG. For Omega, it's been up and down. They are kind of slated to be eliminated, so there's no opportunity to climb up. But for YG, this is a good chance for them to cement their position for the upper bracket start. If they do manage to secure, say, a 2-0 here, I think that does hammer in their spot there. They are currently 3-2-2, which is a magical number in terms of series. 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. If they make that a 4-2-2, I think chances are they will stay for an upper bracket start. And you know, YG, they were a bit of an underdog team coming into it. You know, and they've been up and down. We saw them a bit in BTS PRO Series 8, not having the best of times. Certainly a lot of improvements since then. We'll see if that holds up. Of course, Omega, for their part, even though not much is at stake for them, they want to still keep working as a team, keep improving and showing off those improvements. So we'll see if their roster now, going back to Prince, Hero, and Fields, will manage to hold up, as they have shifted players around a bit, but they have gone back to that roster they announced in September. And I think this young squad, again, has a lot of opportunities to learn.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team back. The undying waits. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team bad. Radiant team bad.
Yeah, again, I think as a team, you still want to show that you're improving, right? You want to look good for the next set of tournaments coming up. Show that you're a force to be reckoned with. So I think Omega should still be looking to play at their best. With the draft on hand, though, it could be a bit of a tough one. They start with their 2 supports, so Bane, Rubik. Good spells to steal, Ravages on hand from the Tide to take away. Even the Undying spells are pretty good. The K, Soul Rip, Tombstone, even Flesh Golem's pretty good from the Undying. So a lot of utility there for the Rubik, and that does kind of set up for a good time. But for YG, you have really good front line with Tide and Undying. You have good control with your Ravage, as long as it doesn't get stolen. You have great laning presence and lots of heals. We've seen the Undying be really impactful with the Soul Rip build going to the Holy Locket. Again, that's a single target heal of 572 with a Holy Locket up on a 6-second cooldown. So if you don't have burst damage to rip through in a prolonged fight, the Soul Rip will add up. You can basically heal, what, 1,000, 2,000 times in a long fight? And that's insane amounts of HP that I think Omega will have to be aware of. Of course, for YG, they're going with a green draft with Undying and Tide, so keeping in the color combination, getting some bonus agi in my mind. Because of that, Omega do go into the Void Spirit, so they have a purple one with Bane Void, but the Rubik kind of breaks it, so no bonus points for them. Still a stable mid for them to have on hand. Really good reach into the backline, so they can kind of be aggressive from there. They kind of take care of the other Spirit Brother matchups, but No, okay, Lena's gone as well. So there's maybe the puck left here for YG if they want to just go for their mid. They do have the back-to-back picks. They can kind of just go for a mid, pick their next support, and wait for the next phase, knowing that the Void Spirit's mid. I think the Lena would have been ideal, but again, Omega did ban out like 3 mids just now. So puck is probably your best bet. You could go for a Quap as well for YG if you want some good burst. Holds the lane against Void Spirit just fine. Those are the 2 most common ones. There's an off chance for the Kunkka as well, which can go back and forth with a Void Spirit. It's not as tough for the Void Spirit because the Resonant Pulse does block off Tidebringer just a bit. Can go with that. They go with the Earth Spirit, keeping it green, Mike. More Agi points coming out for YG. Your favorite Spirit Brother coming true. So it is there. Unlikely to be mid. Not going to raise your hopes. Not going to be mid here, but you do have the Earth Spirit 4 with the Tide Hunter. That is a very strong dual lane. Lots of early aggression that can come out with a Gush for minus armor. The rollout can be a bit tough for Omega. They do have the save with the Bane, so Nightmare is there to provide some relief for their pause 1. Can still kind of go for spell immune heroes. Jug could be an option. Lifestealer could be an option against the Tide Hunter as well. So you have a lot of ways to go around there. But the puck does come out for YG. Really the only option left between that and the Quap. And the lane matchup then is pretty alright for puck. There are ways for the Void Spirit to play, mainly with a Remnant, but you should be fine there. Omega though, into the Doom. So probably our offlaner. We have seen some teams run a pause 1 Doom. Could be something they flex out here for Omega, but likely on the off lane. I say that, but you can maybe flex around. Have Doom mid, Void Spirit off. But again, I don't think the matchup's too painful for Void Spirit anyway.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team bad. Radiant team bad.
Yeah. You know. I never played.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm just not a great card game player. What can I say? You know, I could never do it. Even in games like Fallout. No, I actually didn't. The last card game I played was Yu-Gi-Oh! So there you go, Mike. I'm old school. All the way back. Oh yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Kaiba? Yes.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, well, while we're on the topic, you should give JoJo a spin. I think you'd like that, Mike. I'm not sure if you've started it. Did you? Okay, there you go. I'll admit, I haven't watched it. Because I know it's a good anime, that's it. I haven't seen it. What is good, though, is this pick. The Spectre comes out from YG. Yeah. I know there's a lot of good anime that I haven't watched. They're all on my list. I know. I just haven't. I don't know why. It's something, you know. It takes like a switch to get flicked on for me to watch stuff. Like it took me 5 years to watch Cowboy Bebop after I knew it was really good, and it's like, I'll watch it next time. I had it on my hard drive. I'll watch it next time. Watch it next time. 5 years later, it's like, it's about time. You know, maybe in 10 years I'll get JoJo a spin. I don't know. Of course. Of course. The Spectre is still good, but into a Doom it could be a bit annoying. The lane matchup is decent enough, but you do have some good control for Omega. If they manage to play the aggressive on Omega's side, get a fast blink up, you can just kind of haunt the Spectre herself instead of her haunting you, get the Doom off, and just kind of negate her presence. So I think Omega kind of set up already to handle the Spectre to a certain extent. Of course, if YG play very defensively, keep their Spectre very far away from the action, then the Haunt comes in, the Spectre can just jump around, the Doom might be forced onto the puck instead, giving the Spectre all the space to do work and kind of run from there. For Omega, the tricky part is getting a Doom target. So you kind of want to take care of the puck, the Spectre, or maybe even the Tide, but that you only really have Doom. I mean, there is the Fiend's Grip as well from the Bane, so you could split your focus to an extent, but at some point the choice has to be made, and that could give openings for Omega, for Yangon to play. Omega do go for the Jug. They've got a very stable way of laning now against Tidehunter, spell immunity on hand. Can just kind of spin to win, as you would like to see in the Beyblade anime, Mike, up against the Tidehunter, and that's a really strong lane for Prince. You've got Jug Bane, so you got the Nightmare spin combination. You can be aggressive. Issue for Jug is he has a low mana pool, and the Blade Fury cooldown is fairly long. So you kind of have to choose whether or not you want to save the Blade Fury for aggression or defense here, as you have to respect the output of a Tide Earth Spirit still.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I'd lean towards YG. I think they can hit their timings really well with their heroes. I think for Omega, when you have a Doom, no matter what, like, Doom is a slightly slow hero. You still go for the Midas from the offlane, then you build into your Blink, you build into your BKB. Whereas for YG, Tidehunter only really needs a Blink. Puck just needs maybe a quick travel to Yule's, blink up one of those items and you're ready to go. The Spectre's the slowest hero to scale on YG's side, but everyone else is super quick. So you can play 4 Protect 1, get the Spectre online, and it will overwhelm a Jug. Jug's issue is that Omni Slash is a very long cooldown. Now, we have seen that work in the late game, because once you're farmed up in the Jug, you have this amazingly long invulnerability state that you can't counteract, but it takes a long time for the Jug to hit that spike, and even then, the Spectre scales just as well as the Jug does. So I think YG have all their power spikes covered and should have a pretty good time in this game, but Omega does have tools on hand. They just have to get online or to do them rather quick here.
Game number 1 in just a moment. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought to myself in the shower, back in Dota All-Stars, Axe or Jug? Because I always thought it was an Axe thing, right? Like back in the day, a long time ago. That's the first time I heard it. You have to spin to win for Axe. But do you think it was first used for Axe or Jug?
That's a toughie. I think it was interchangeable because they had the same hero model in Dota 1, right? Like it was both the Blade Master hero, except Axe was red.
Yep.
So I think both of them were just known as spin to win. Like, maybe more on Axe. I think Axe was, Axe was a bit more well known for it. I think the Jug was also known for it as well. So kind of both of them, but Axe would be the first to mind, I suppose. Although recently, I think, because it's much more consistent than Jug, he can just spin himself as a top on demand. Like a Beyblade, you let it rip. So I think the Jug is a much better fit now.
That's enough Beyblade references, John. I'm positive the young viewers have no idea what a Beyblade is. To fidget spinners and things like that these days, John. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Quick pause out. What are the kids into these days? What are their toys? Well, I don't know. Just because we used to have toys, right? Like we used to have plastic toys we used to play with, and now there's just smartphones. It feels like.
True. I think, I don't know, I feel like I see a lot. Actually, it's hard for me to tell. I guess for the kids into video games and merch, there's like amiibos on like Nintendo stuff.
How's that?
It's like these figures, right? Toy figures that you can use in games with NFC. I think for the really young crowd, there's like what's that? Spyro Skylanders, which is the same concept. You've got like action figures you can integrate into the game. So I think that's the thing. It's all tied in with the video games now. I don't know anything about like like anime tie-ins, that kind of merchandising anymore. I suppose Legos are still popular, Mike, but they've never really faded, so there it is.
I never had Legos, to be honest.
They were expensive, weren't they? Like as a kid, I never had those kids. I had the fake Legos.
Yeah.
You know, those stuff were easy to come by, but the official stuff, nah, no way.
Oh, I was lucky to get a ball, John. I grew up very poor on my end, let me tell you. Zenki, gonna run into Zorain. Fade bolt there from a hero, that'll help out a little bit. No first blood to come out though. Level 1 timing's not really that strong for Omega. In fact, hero now might take a bit of damage on the way out. Nah, it looks like he's gonna be fine, just outrunning the Undying. Zorain will go for a bit of a dance. Bit of thriller there for all the young folk that are watching. Well, you don't know what that is either. So, what is it, John?
It's like, I feel like everyone should know what Triller is, right? Like that's something everyone knows, because your parents will make you know.
We're old. We're just like mummies now, you and I. Zorain. This is a pretty difficult lane, right? Like against the Undying, sure you have Doom Rubik, but it's Undying. It doesn't really lose the bot lane unless it's heavily countered by, say, something like the Viper. They do at least get the courier of Zorain, but he did get the items off it beforehand, and just look at the damage he's dealing to Hero right now. Not a very fun matchup whatsoever for Omega.
No, and Hero's all the way down at 120 HP now. Even Van took a lot from those hits. So they've got to watch themselves. Really good presence early on coming out from Zorain. But that's the one thing with Undying as well. If you don't find the kills, they can actually regen really well with Tango use while the K is there, and once it fades, they get a good percent of their HP back. So you have to kind of go for the kill. The hero might be in danger now, though.
Should be. Zorain, he's got another decay soon. How? Do you want to dive? Zorain does. Hero, he has stick charges, though. He's just fine. Survive through the onslaught of YG here in the safe lane. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got Piols against Young PH, and so far for the Void Spirit, it's been a rather nice time. But I suppose the matchup does kind of favor Void Spirit in terms of CSing. Does make enough sense. Young PH eventually should have an advantage in terms of the harass war. For now, Piols having a pretty nice time.
It's to be expected. I think the one lane the puck can't manage well is the Void Spirit lane. So naturally, you're going to have a slight edge for Piols. He has much easier harassment. If the Remnant doesn't land, though, that does give an opening to Young PH. But Rune Control's paramount for both sides, and Young PH still has his bottle flying in. We'll be able to secure a Water Rune at the least. Gonna be able to top up before hitting back to lane, so gonna be able to bounce out. Same thing for Piols. Gets the bottle rune up and be able to hold out. Leading slightly in CS is always a good feeling, but you do have to hold on, and maybe down the line for the 4-minute water rune and the first power rune, you're gonna need your supports to contest that.
Piols getting very aggressive now in this Void Spirit, but gonna fly back the other way, and he's gonna go for the dive in. But he had the Fairy Fire. Piols gonna win out and is probably gonna be able to escape. The tips out from Prince. It's always that casual Fairy Fire you've got in that mid lane that ends up working against the enemy. And Piols even throws the paws out. It's always Discord. Every single time it's gonna be a Discord issue. Excuse me if I don't believe it, John, at this point. This is the third time in a row I've heard a Discord issue happening from these teams.
Yeah, it's a strange one. You know, I actually understand TeamSpeak issues because we'd run into those ourselves, but Discord's been pretty good. Well, hopefully it holds out for Omega. We do get the immediate unpause so they get back into it. Again, nice first blood coming out there for Piols, leveraging his Fairy Fire use. A bit too keen there for Young PH. You know, not quite popping his own, having that extra regen, although the rollout.
Yeah, nice kick away. Piols gonna go down. Young PH. No tip. Very upsetting.
Yeah, it's not quite a solo kill, so not quite something you can tip out for. Young PH still going to be very satisfied regardless. However, that movement does allow Zenki to snag away a bounty rune. So they're taking away more bottle refills away from Young PH, and now Zenki can camp for the water rune. cut off Young PH access to top. Piols can also gun for the bot. So it's a bit of a toughie now for Young PH. He still has a level disadvantage. Piols is at 5 and can kind of play aggressive from there. And once you hit level 6, without the Dream Coil up, the puck can't really stop Piols from jumping in all too deep.
Of course, last lane is the top lane. You've got Prince there on the Jug. Lun, he's going to be against him on the Tide. Prince, even against the Tide, is going to have a pretty free time, I reckon. In Lun, you can spam Anchor Smash as much as you want, but the Jug not really being contested whatsoever. As mid lane, pretty big group up here, at least from Omega. Not going to amount to anything, though. Just unable to catch anyone. Really be able to pick them off there with their Void Spirit. But back to the top lane, Jug is having the freest time of his life right now.
Yep, it's a hard lane for Lun to really apply pressure on by himself. He does do good damage, but Prince can kind of turn around, get some hits off, go for the spin play. If Lun overextends, and that does mean you're just kind of forced to play a lot more defensive here for Lun. He doesn't have the help of his Earth Spirit, as Skill is just ensuring mid will have a game, trying to find water runes, prevent any sort of rotations, and that does slow the presence of the Tide down. So overall, a pretty decent start for Omega up top. You are seeing Prince up in the CS board. It's not like How is lagging too far behind, so it looks like both teams kind of having struggles with their offlaners here.
Yeah. Lun gonna cop a spin now from Prince, and that is gonna be the level 2 spin. Skill lane, he tries to roll forward, but can't really do too much. Still, the boulder smash is out. Lun, one more right click away from tying, but he will backstroke his way away from Prince till eventually they are gonna be able to secure the kill. So this safe lane from Omega only getting better and better here. They can't really do too much to slow Prince down.
That's very fortunate for Prince. His phase boots flying in as the Tide was running away. Just manages to get the active on and get the last hit off and build up. Still, Omega even finding the punishment down bot. Fan managing to kill off Zarain now. Starting to get some momentum here for Omega's side. The Doom lane was off to a slow start, but it's still a Doom. It's still up there in CS, having a lot of a better time compared to Lun. And that's where the big difference is. Sure, you're not slowing down How, but you are having a better game as a Doom, and that does mean the Midas timing for Van is going to be on point, and the build-up into Blink is going to be quick.
Mid lane, Piols is going to end up dropping. Nice kick away from that Dream Coil there from Skill Lay. They were all just fighting over the Arcane Rune, but in the end, Piols kind of ends up paying for the greed for that Power Rune. Of course, now with the Tombstone dropped, mid lane, they're going to try and pressure this Tier 1 tower with the Siege Creep. Very early Tier 1 to try and go for with a draft like this, but just dropping the Tombstone does kind of help clear out the creep wave fast enough, and now Skill Lay and get aggressive here onto Hero. Gonna be able to follow up the Omega. They'll be there in time to at least defend the Tier 1, but Piols, he does not get the final click off on that Tombstone. Does not get that gold. Very unfortunate. Meanwhile, Zenki apparently dying to a neutral camp up at top lane, so they miss out on another kill here for YG. Prince gonna go for an Omni Slash onto Skill Lay. Another kill to go the way of Omega Esports.
Yeah, they're finding everything they could ask for. Managing to get the defense off as well, and we're seeing a lot of pressure onto How bot. They do have the Doom ready in Van, he just doesn't have the mana. They could have gone for the commit there, but just slowing down the Spectre is a good feeling, and when it comes down to the core-to-core matchup, sure, Spectre skill's really nice late game. It doesn't flash farm well. The Jug will have the farming advantage in that sense. You're seeing How once more going back for the Blade Mail build to kind of keep up. He's gonna hit a fairly decent time considering lane, but still not good news.
Van very close to dying. Hawk gonna be expended. How still gonna make his way over, but doesn't have the mana for the dagger. He tried everything. He used the one charge as he switched treads to int, but still not enough. Very unfortunate as now Van, he'll just walk away back to the fountain, get himself a reset, and he's got Doom up, so he might be able to play with that to try and find a bit of a counter initiate now onto the Spectre.
Yeah, it's a big when you're collapsing.
Yeah, they don't even need the Doom. How's gone? He's right back into the mid lane. No time wasted. In the meantime, they might find Zenki, but that's nowhere near worth the trade. They'll just be forced to take it.
Yeah, it's not the 1-for-1 you want to see here for YG. Omega still having this nice lead, 3-5, 2k lead their way. The aggression is shaping up. They're getting a lot of free space for Prince. Uncontested jug for the most part up top. The Tide just can't do much. He does have a Ravage ready, but I think for the side of YG, it might be time to either play top or force the Tide to rotate out to find some more movement here.
At least Lun's been given a bit of space up at that top lane now, away from the jug. Prince just still having the freest time of his life on this Juggernaut. Well, YG obviously just interested in buying more time for their Spectre. No real rush for them. But at some point you do need to get aggressive because you still want How to use that Haunt up and kills here and there. You do have a very aggressive draft, excluding the Spectre. Haven't really found the opportunity yet, and of course with the Haunt down, they probably won't go too far. YG though, they are very focused on Van down at this spot lane. Seemingly just wanting to pick off this Doom, but Van, he's still deathless. Still just fine, keeping a nice distance away from the lane. It is going to have a pretty darn decent Midas timing to boot, so his farm will escalate quite fast here on this Doom. Not really too much they can do about it.
Yeah, I don't think the Doom's the target you want to jump. You have a better shot at killing off the Jug. Once you see the spin committed, it's going to be a really easy kill to pick up. But they will keep playing this game. It's more about protecting How. And this is slowing down EXP gain of both Zalrain and Skill just standing in here though, and you do want level 6 on these two supports ASAP. So the power spikes from the supports is going to be stalled out. At the very least, one of them is going to get the Tome early on, and that should hit the 6th spike. It will be Skill, and the Doom's out.
Doom is out bot lane. They have found the Spectre. Still, the lift away was there, so the Spectre's just fine for now. I believe Skill kicked him away. In the meantime, the Doom is dropping low, but still going to try and run with the Scorched Earth, but no, it's not enough. They got Van down. He also at least going to find one. In fact, he found another. Young PH. He's going to try and run with the bottle charges, but it's not enough. Another great trade here for Omega Esports. And in the end, I mean, you got the Doom, but he's still got the Midas. So no real problem here for Omega as they'll set up for that bottom tier 1.
Yeah, they can just look for the push. They've got the damage for their Jug. They've got the healing ward ready if they need it. Zalrain is hanging around, but he can't really do much to stop that push. YG, for their part, are pushing top as well. It's not a quick process, but with no defense, it should equal out. So a 1-for-1 tower trade coming through. You still have to worry about that as mid.
Van, again being caught here. Nice kick back again from Skill. Silence out. Van gonna get the stun off. Young PH should be able to secure this, however. And does. In the meantime, of course, the top lane was also forced in. YG able to find that top tier 1 as mid lane. They make the jump in again. Zalrain's already gone down to Viols now. Well, Skill, he's very low in terms of HP. Viols will go all the way for that Earth Spirit kill. Does manage to snag it. And young PH, he's not too healthy either. He is still trying to get this Void Spirit down, but he's going to be careful for his own life as the Ravage does get expended but connects on nothing. Hero stuck around for the Fade Bolt. Young PH is barely going to survive, but Lun now is going to die. So a complete mess in the mid lane. I believe that did kind of favor YG, and in the end it was, I believe, a 2-for-4 trade. Even the post-fight hasn't updated properly. But you've still got Prince with a DD rune now on this Jug, and he's just going to freely push the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and Omega are playing to their strengths. They know they've got a very early spike with a Jug. They're just being aggressive. They catch out How, but there's no real backup to jump the Spectre yet. Still opens up that push freely on mid. Gotta point this out about Prince. He really took his time to level Omnislash. He only went for it at level 10, knowing that he had a free farming lane, so he could just max up a healing ward for sustain, go a little bit more in the Blade Dance, and there was no punishment. So now he shows up with just level 1 Omni, rips through. We'll have a Yasha soon to complement his Maelstrom. And the attack speed's ramping up, the damage is shooting up as well. You can also itemize for Silver Edge on the Jug if you worry about the Spectre down the line, but I don't think it's a massive issue as long as you have the Doom ready to go on Van. So you're hitting a lot of good spikes on Omega. 3k lead, 8 to 10. YG just trying to play the stall game to get their Spectre up and running. How Blade Mail up. So he can play around stacks, play around camps, and is still in the game. Not too far behind, but definitely not in good position right now as the Spectre 2k behind the Jug. A lot more catching up to do for YG, and that does mean they're going to have to keep trying to stall this game out.
Zenki. Beans grip up, smoke there with Piols. Love to run into the Spectre, but instead, Zorain's there to break the smoke, but not quite close enough. He is there to help out, though, if the fight breaks out. How? Oh, he's going to get caught. Fan sees him. How? He's going to go for a run. Doom not there yet. He's trying to juke out. Piols didn't spot him either. Young PH, he'll jump in. Skill Lay, he'll go for a rollout. And Piols, he does not like the look of this fight. In the end, Van going to beat his life away there to Young PH. And Omega, they just never found the entry to that fight that they wanted.
Yeah, they couldn't find a Spectre in the tree line, they didn't have vision, and they got punished for kind of diving a bit too deep. Get a nice big kill in YG. That Doom is a fairly juicy target considering Van's net worth, and they keep stalling out to get How what he needs. Yasha almost done. Once you have a few more items on the spec, perhaps the Mantle coming through, you can feel a lot safer and start to hit your own spike. Generally, we see delayed ags still have a lot of impact as well for How. So that could still come through. Omega, I think they might need that blink on Van soon. Maybe just the BKB will help against the Dream Coil and the silences. And once that's up, you can feel a bit safer initiating with the Doom. Not too long left until that BKB is up. You have Devour, you have Midas. You can play it slower here and just wait for the items to flow in.
Did you like this? I mean, you brought up the Blade Mail earlier, John, but I think we saw this yesterday and you weren't too happy to see it on How. Pretty sure he was the same player that did go Blade Mail Spectre. Do you like it this game? Do you think it has enough impact? Is it bad? What do you think?
I think the main issue is that you don't have impact early on, even if you go for, say, Echo Saber, focusing on Haunt here. You don't have the follow-through damage to get easy kills outside of maybe supports. And you kind of can put yourself in a bad spot with the control on Omega's side. So you just play the slow game, go for Blade Mail to keep farming up, and just build up. You don't play for that early aggression on that Spectre right now.
Zenki being caught out here on the Bane. He should drop a PL. He's going to try and jump in and get a trade for himself. The skill late? No, he's going to leave him be. Too many heroes around. Ravage was up on the tides. They don't want to risk it. Just lose the Bane. Another kill to go the way of YG. How's that Jug farming? Pretty well. SNY almost up on Prince. So the one thing I question right now for YG's sake is the Spectre going to be farmed enough to contest this Jug? Because Prince is getting to the point where he will be able to join these team fights.
He's going to have a lot of damage coming in as well. I think the Spectre with the Manta is going to feel pretty good. But the spike is still Ags afterwards, right? Like, the stats you get from Ags is too good. It allows you to keep haunting in for the softer targets in the back line. Even if you're not going for kills, it gives you information. And there's a lot of value in just using Shadow Step to kind of set up for some teamfight or give you an idea as to where the enemy team's at. So I think that's still what you have to wait for How, and that does mean, again, it's going to take a bit longer to build up, a bit more time to keep farming, and more time for YG to have to keep running around as 4. They do have some tools to help them out to run as 4, though. Blink up on Lun, so he's going to have an easier time to set up for the Ravages. And, of course, they've got the Blink up as well on their Puck. So, young PH can also kind of follow through with his Travels up, very mobile on that hero. They just need to be able to catch the right heroes, and I think ideally now you have to actually focus the Doom. Van has to be taken out before you can pop the Doom, but it becomes very difficult once that full BKB is up, and it is. I think for Omega to kind of ride out that moment where YG can hunt down the big target on Van, and now it's going to be a back and forth in the team fights. If Van does manage to pop his BKB without getting chain stunned, one single Doom on, say, the Puck kind of turns that fight in Omega's favor.
Lane, Coil, oh, it's off the mark. Trying to find PLs there, but let's make his way out. So now Dream Coil down for a bit. They're still going to try and force the fight with the Ravage up, and Van might be the target. They'll have to commit the Ravage though, and they will. How? Even coming in with the Haunt just in case they needed it. That'd be about it. Bot tier 2 is being forced in though. TP cancellation from 1. Young PH and Skill A will be there to try and defend, but Prince standing pretty confidently and just hitting the tier 2 tower. I suppose without a creep wave though, they can't go too much further. So they'll leave that be. Get back and defend that mid tier 1 tower. In fact, now they have found the tide. So Lun, it's going to be just fine. He'll blink away the tide and it's not really too much they can do about it. In Omega, they're still holding this 3k net worth advantage. Prince is already on his way to an Eye of Skadi. Just hasn't slowed down whatsoever in farm, and with the Omni still up, he just wants a free kill for himself. But he finds an Ancient stack. Why not just take it?
Yeah, no Ravage, no Dream Coil yet. Gonna be up in 5 seconds, so Young PH could have some big plays here if they do move in at the right time.
Well, Hal's gonna try and contest his snack being taken. Piols has a double damage rune active, so this is not a great fight to try and force this YG as Zorain already caught out, meaning no tombstone. YG, they'll keep poking and prodding, but the other stack will also be taken by Prince here. YG just unable to contest. Like seeing that, John, you might just force a Roshan. You know they can't fight you at the moment.
There's the Dream Coil, but no Ravage for about 50 seconds. That's a big enough window for Omega to go for the commit here. And Omega will just go for it. They've got the Healing Ward to sustain. They've got their Void Spirit ready to go in the back line as well. It's still running with that meaty, although not for much longer. YG, they don't have the forward vision. Well, they actually did. They saw that movement out, but they can't react in time.
Dinky, just making sure he holds back the rest. Nightmare will do the job. Roshan still taking a bit of time, so there is time to react. Ravage though still 25 away, but they can rely on that Tombstone and Dream Coil, but still the jump in again. Pio's not going to allow it. Onto Lun, Aegis already onto Prince. Young PH, a massive Dream Coil, but are they able to follow up on it? Zorain's already died, so that you haven't got the Undying. You might lose Lun here. They at least get Zenki down, but Prince is just cleaning up. A triple kill for the Jug. And Skill A, really the only survivor on the Earth Spirit. And Van, he is going to spot him out anyway. He's not out of the woods quite yet. But Van won't really have the damage though. In fact, Skill A's going to turn back in on this Derma with the Haunt out from Hal. Or they'll at least get something for their trouble. Certainly still very favorable here for Omega Esports.
Yeah, if you're Omega, you're happy enough. You got really big core kills in exchange onto the Jug. You get the Aegis up. You've got 5 minutes where Prince is going to be untouchable. And that's enough time to get the Skadi up before the next fight. And once that Skadi is up and running, the Jug's just going to be nearly impossible to keep pinned down. I think for the side of YG, outside of the items on how you're going to need an Ags up on your Puck. And she is trying to save up for the Lincoln, so Young PH trying to get some protection from the Doom, but you're going to have to find a way to hold back the Jug. When he spins up, you need that BKB piercing Dream Foil to get control on the Jug, to try to force him in an awkward spot and kind of take the fight against him. For Omega's part, Piols is about to hit that Ag Spike. Looks like he's only about 700 gold away. And once that's up and running, the AoE silence is going to wreak havoc on the side of YG. They don't have a way of purging off the silences on any of their heroes yet. No Yules on Puck, no BKBs flying through. Lotus Orb is being farmed up by Lun, but it's still a ways off. So the Axe time for Piols is just going to wreck face once it's up and running soon.
Prince just running right to the high ground. Hal will force him back now on the Spectre. See Hal trying to work towards that Eye of Skadi. No Ags queued up yet for the Spec, so not going to have that Shadow Step, but I suppose the way this game is going, the Shadow Step's not really going to help. Problem is, Prince already has the Eye of Skadi on the way now. And they can just go for the tier 2 mid. I mean, YG surely want to stop this.
Yeah, they can't afford to give out free objectives. The TPs are coming in slowly onto the high ground. They've got Ravage if they just want to initiate. Prince is still a pretty tough target to kill twice.
Trying to force out the spin there, Lun. Pump faking, but it's not enough. Prince not reacting. Ags up now on Piols to make matters worse. They've got that AoE silence now. Prince has committed spin. He is a bit vulnerable at the moment. He still has the Aegis. They'll get rid of one life, however, it looks like. Rest of the team making their way over, but some of them are still pretty far away, so Lund can commit the Ravage. Where's the backup? Omni Slash going to be committed. Can he find his way out? No, a big Ravage out from Hero. What a steal. What a hero, in fact. But still, they will lose to Rubik. Prince, he's going to keep this fight up. Haunt is there from Hal. Piols, meanwhile, onto Young PH. They'll at least get the pucker. Now the Fiends, Ripzenki going to hold down the Spectre. They'll lose Prince, though. The Jug is down. They should be able to find the Spectre, as Piols is still trying to simulate onto Zorain. Maybe he won't try to the Doom, but the Astral Step should be enough, and eventually the Resonant Pulse is. They will continue the chase out onto this Void Spirit, back and around. Piol just playing all around them, and they won't have enough. Finish him off, he wipes them out. The only survivor is Lund, but he's still going to have a look around to see if he can find him. He'll give up in the end, though.
It's a massive back and forth. I think for YG, it actually ends up being a decent gold change in their favor, but it doesn't feel great because all the gold on Omega's end flies onto Piols, and it's that Ags timing we talked about. With no source of Dispel, the silence just does so much work. The charges and the Resonant Pulse gives a lot more tankiness to Piols as well to deal with the damage coming through. And now he has 1.7k in the bank, so you can just look to keep building up, look to keep applying pressure, maybe looking for the BKB next to have his own spell immunity to keep standing in front. And with all those kills, it's not going to take too long. YG, they are showing that they've got ways to play. The Ravage was good, they just need to prevent that from being stolen, so quick use of the Anchor Smash has to come true. And presence of mind to do that has to be there as well, as it was really off the back of Hero's counter Ravage that the opportunity opened up for Omega, because for a long time the Jug was alone, although Hero...
No, gonna get caught. Easy kill there for Hal, he'll appreciate that. 5k behind the Jug right now in the Spectre, so not a great position for YG. The Prince is going for the Mjolnir over the Ags. How do you feel about that, John? Do you feel like the Mjolnir is more worthwhile? I thought the Swift Slash would be much more effective. I suppose it is a lot more expensive to get the Ags. But you'd think Mjolnir not the most popular item right now.
It's really not popular, but I think on Jug it makes enough sense. You kind of want just more attack speed. A lot of your damage is relying on just proccing the Chain Lightning anyway, and the Mjolnir does up the damage of that by a decent enough amount. You can also kind of use the spin with the Mjolnir active on yourself, so it provides you more protection in that BKB state, or that spell immunity state for the Jug. Punish them if they do try to jump you anyway. I think that's where the value lies. After that, you could still make an argument for still keeping the Ags down. Like, say, going for Basher into Abyssal next, or just the Swift Blink could be an option, and then going for the Ags. What you're doing is building up attack speed, building up more use from your slashes, that when you do get the Ags, the Swift Slash will have impact. Because if you buy it now, say you go Scotty, Maelstrom, SNY, Falcon Blade, Ags, your Swift Slash has no damage. And it's not going to last long because you're not capping out on attack speed yet. So if you want full value, you have to max out attack speed to get the most duration from that mini Omni Slash and have a lot of damage or a lot of utility in your hits. And it will take a bit more farm. So I can understand why you delay the Ags, and it kind of makes sense for Smart Omega. I don't think they're having too many issues playing around the Omni Slash cooldown. Like, Prince has not been caught out while Omni Slash is down. So I think they can kind of just wait out the Ags and just keep building up there.
Okay, makes enough sense. Thank you for that, John. Who are we waiting on right now? Oh, looks like we do have to go ahead from Young PH. Eventually on pause, so YG not out of the woods, not out of this game though either. Prince. The skill lane, no block on the roll. Piols, meanwhile, at least is going to find out Zorain, so not the greatest kill, but they'll get something. They don't have Roshan to play for with that, but I believe they will have time for the tier 2 mid tower if they so wish. Problem is they are kind of lacking a creep wave right now.
Yeah, a bit too far behind. Skill, they does show up though.
All right, never mind. They'll find another kill. Skill lane, gonna have his roll blocked this time by Prince. Yeah, another death away of YG, and I'd say certainly you go for the tier 2 mid tower now if you're Omega. Creep wave on the way. Prince already setting up for it. There should be absolutely no issue here for the junk.
Just safe plays coming out from Omega. Find a couple of pickoffs, get an objective, fall back, keep applying the pressure. They will shove it in the lane a bit. They've got Doom ready to go. They do have the Slash ready. Fiend script back up. And of course, Hero can just stand back and look again for the big steals, perhaps on the Ravage. So they can actually keep playing around here. They don't have the safety net of Aegis. Prince has to respect some of the counterplay coming through from YG.
They are going to be cautious. You don't want to throw the lead away, that's for sure. And I think Omega might just wait for their next Roshan attempt. No real reason not to. Sure, How is still farming, but you're not really at the stage where you're concerned yet. I mean, How is slowly catching up, but it is still a very slow process here for the Spectre. Meanwhile, mid skill late. Gonna be just fine. I thought they might make the jump in for the stun, but they do hold off.
I think the scaling for both sides going to the 30-minute mark, scaling up to the 40 and into the late game here. Omega does have ways of keeping up. Like, I think the emphasis starts to go onto Van, so a refresh is going to have to come through. Double Doom must come out. And there might be an argument for the Ags as well. Right, like having that break against the Spectre as the primary Doom target can help massively, especially since we're not seeing a Silver Edge coming out from the Jug. So you can still take away the impact of the Spectre with the Doom alone. It will kind of TP up top, but Young PH does read that, manages to preemptively back off. Zenki was in range for the Fiend's Grip, but not able to commit early enough. So just wasting a bit of time here on Omega's side. Roche is not too far off though, a minute respawn here. Omega can kind of set up, but YG has a bit better control on the Roche. They've got good wards watching the entrance, but they can kind of read that action this time from Omega and force the fight.
Group up. How can be here at any moment, no problem. Hero, you jumped first, but fine. Young BH not finding the initiation he wanted, but PLs did. Dream Coil was committed, but it's only going to hold the Void Spirit back for a little bit. Of Zorain even getting caught out in the tree line, and that'll be another. Roshan's also 13 seconds away, so the timing couldn't be much better here for Omega. Looks like they will try to secure the top 2 towers first before they go any further, but you know, right after that, you check the Roshan pit. Easy pickings here for Omega.
Not going to take too long to clear out Roche. They've got the full Mjolnir up on Prince, so again, he's a bit more protected when he Blade Fury's out. He's going to have the Mjolnir active on top of him to do some more damage and more attack speed. They do kill off Skill Lay, preventing even more angles for them to come in for that Roche steal as Roche does spawn up. Of course, movement in there is protected by wards from YG's side. So when they do commit, YG can maybe try for a Haunt and Ravage play. The puck is going to be up at the point the tier 2 falls. So you have more tools here for YG to contest. Omega, I think they'd still feel confident. They force out the Fortify on an outer tower, which means that if they do find Roche and go high ground, there's not going to be any Fortify to hold them off from the tier 3s.
Roshan, it's time. Wonder who they give the shards over to. I guess Van might be a nice shards hero here on the Doom. Gonna be spotted out. Orb and Scan gonna give the information YG need, but problem is, have left the Roshan pit, so they aren't gonna be able to initiate. Orb just kind of gives it away. Still smoke though, they might be able to go for the long wraparound. Instead they will get some wards down and just keep an eye on this Roshan. About half HP down. How? He's going to try and get it started himself now. And YG quite desperate for this Roche to try and turn this game back around against Omega. Still PL is going to jump in with a double damage rune now. It's always that DD rune timing around the Roshan fight. It's Prince, he'll jump back in. Who gets the Aegis though? It's on the deck and How's got it. How does swipe it away from the grasp of Princess. Now they even found Piols. This could be a very bad time for the side of Omega, as they are going to lose the Aegis and their Void Spirit. In fact, there might be more. Van, he'll hold them back for a little bit, but he ends up dooming himself. And in the end, nobody's going to be able to capitalize on the doom he's thrown out onto the Spectre as Hal. Well, they'll have to let Prince go. They will end up finding Hero. And suddenly the game might start shifting back the way of YG.
Yep, we find a big opening on YG's side, just snagging away to Roshan, managing to give him the locking. No, they're not done.
Absolutely not. Bit of creep skipping there from Zenki, but it is going to amount to his own death, and the creeps are still alive. YG just got to take the time to get as much as they possibly can. They are certainly still the weaker team in terms of the heroes, but with that Aegis up, you know Hal's feeling a lot more confident now. Who got the shards, by the way?
I believe Prince might have sold them? No, he left them in base, alright. So I think in this case, you give it over to your Rubik. Have that lift back, have that saving potential, and better toss range. It's going to be very impactful in the middle of these fights. And I think he's probably the right target. I don't think you're going to get value from Bane, yeah. And Doom, I suppose you could make an argument for with the Infernal Blade. Actually, they leave it. So, Hero's not going to grab it. Perhaps our Doom is the target, and I guess having that utility on the Infernal Blade can be nice. I don't know why people underrate the Rubik Shard. Like, we see it do a lot of work in games. It does get picked up, but it barely gets picked up. It's just so strange when you have the option to go for it for free. Why not?
It can be a slight annoyance, though, because sometimes if you misclick on your own teammate, you kind of mess up, right? Like, before the shards, you don't really care about that because you can't lift your teammates, but then I don't know if that has anything to do with it, John. I'm just saying from my own experiences, it's not very fun.
Really, I find it fun, even if it's a mistake. You know, there are no mistakes, Mike. Just happy little accidents, even though your teammates will get mad.
Fortunately, Bob Ross does not exist in the SEA server, John. Zenki, he's caught out now, the Bane. Another kill to go the way of YG, and it does feel like they're starting to feel it now in this game one. They'll smoke up. You've still got that Dream Core, you've still got the Ravage. It feels like a nice time to go. Dump in, Piols, looking for a power rune, is going to miss out. In the meantime, Skill late. Find himself a target, and he almost rolls onto Hero. Not going to make it in time, though. The range was too short, John.
You see this, Mike? Hero finally picks up the shard, and he takes it.
Okay.
So there you go. Telekinesis with a lift back on allies. Could be impactful. Now, mind you, you might not want to use that when Dream Coil's up. So you're going to have to watch yourself there on a mix in. But he's got the Ags up. He's got better steals. He can steal literally every spell if he plays his cards right. Hero can kind of set up for the team now. So it's all down to the Rubik play, and the Piols jumping in along with Van. Like Van, we talked about this earlier, Mike. He needs a refresh up. He needs to be able to doom 2 targets, pin down the puck, pin down the Spectre, or just pin down the Tide, prevent the Ravage from coming through, and handle the Spectre as well, and kind of run from there. YG still staying in the game. The lead has bounced back to Omega from 8k to 9k, so they are building up and down once more. And they will surrender their outer towers, but they know they've got a good fight coming through. Although Hero,
yeah, might have to lift himself up here, but it's probably not going to be enough if you still got Skill lane with the control, and Omega, they've just fallen apart. I mean, Prince is still a real powerhouse in this jug, but it may prove to not be enough at this stage, as Omega, they're just falling one by one.
they push really slow though, YG. And the bot tier 2 already melted, but they're still trying to take the top tier 2, this bot tier 2. And Prince can actually split push really well, so it could be a bit of a base race if they're not careful. Still, Prince not going to push too far, but that push is really just not as fast as you'd want here for Omega.
I mean, it's a Spectre after all. It's going to take a bit of time, but Prince has actually backed off. So he's not going for the split push potential. Now he is. Decided to commit rather than TPing back. It is rather quick, but Hal has also found the tier 3. They are going to react though. They're going to try and stop Prince, but he's got the Shadow Blade and he is out of there. Zenki in the meantime, holding back this Undying, has the Fiend's Grip if he needs it, but he won't as PLs jumps in. Instead, he will find Skill Lane. So you get the Earth Spirit instead. Why the hell not? Be another kill to go the way of Omega. I suppose for YG, they didn't really have much of a choice in the matter as... Well, you were correct, John. The Jug just pushes way faster than the whole side of Omega with their own draft, so they had to respond.
Yeah, it's that one thing with the Jug. Once you've got the Mjolnir up and the Silver Edge, even just Shadow Blade, the added attack speed just lets you hit pretty much cap. I think this is the cap for Jug with his BAT. So this is pretty much the most you'll get. Lots of hits coming through, which means you're fully at the max potential of Omni Slash. So once you have the Basher on, with your added attacks, because of your attack speed, you're going to have a good time getting a lot of procs off. This does open up the possibility for the Ags upgrade now, although you will lack slots. So it's going to have to be a synthesized Ags or an Ags Blessing coming in from Roshan, which might spawn if you're lucky here, for Omega in the next Rosh. So they could kind of play around that. You're kind of finishing up your Jug. He's hitting his major late game spike, which means that the Spectre now can also start to realize its full potential. You know, you are seeing the heart coming through from Hao. You have the Basher up. You can maybe ditch the Blade Mail down the line, although it does hold some value in bouncing back damage towards something like the Jug. Even without the active return, 20% is still pretty decent against a Juggernaut at this point, kind of punishing him. And he's not going to outlast you because he does have slightly less HP with your heart advantage here for Hao. Not going to be an Ags game for the spec. It's just a bit too late. There is value again if you maybe get it from Roshan. You can pick it up. If it doesn't take up a slot, why not? You can still use that for information, jump the backline, take care of the Bane, take care of Doom. There's big issues right now for YG. Like if the Bane is there with a grip, it can be really painful to try to fight against that. Their backline reach Spirit and the Puck, but normally you just grip up the Earth Spirit, the Puck is distracted elsewhere, suddenly you can't break off that hold. And of course the Doom with the Doom is pretty scary. Refresh still a long way away for Van. Eventually as the game goes on you will have to deal with double Doom, and you don't have enough Lincolns here to kind of block that off. You do have the Lotus Orb, so that will actually have to make Van think twice about using the first Doom, because it could end up that he just doesn't get second Doom off, but it's a back and forth one that can be to Omega's advantage here.
Oh, we finally have the go-ahead. Thank you for that, John. Here we go. 11k net worth advantage still for Omega. I do agree with the point, by the way. I think how, like, you just wait for the next Roshan. You see if you can get yourself a free Ags. No point spending the gold. Goes for a butterfly instead. Meantime, young PH still just split push in the top lane. Obviously, that's one thing that's going to be quite important for YG in these next high ground attempts is you've got to make sure the rest of the lanes are pushed out. Prince may not waste his time even trying to fight if he knows he can just out-push you. Yeah. What happens next time around is both teams obviously going to be just fighting over that Roshan. Oh, Hero. Let's go for a lift onto the Tide. Has taken Anchor Smash for himself. I believe he did want the Gush, but misses out. We have a bit of a quiet period for this game now as we are waiting for Roche. I highly doubt either side's really going to try and force a fight now. Maybe right before Roshan.
Probably. I think both sides need to get some vision down by the Roche pit though. Start planting some wards, get some information out for the movement. You do hit that butterfly you mentioned here on the spec. So going to be a bit more durable up front, doing a lot more damage as well. Surprised he skips the heart, so opting instead for evasion against the Jug, which can kind of work out. Prince could struggle. He is going for the Ags now on the Jug as well, not waiting for Roche. So a bit of an interesting back and forth in the mindsets of her pods. One kind of not needing the Ags, the other one kind of feeling he needs that opening now, and not kind of banking on Roshan, taking control of his own destiny here. For Omega, of course, as you said, Mike, it is a game of waiting for Roche. That kind of reminds me of what is it? A stage play called Waiting for Godot. No, except here we're in Dota land and we're waiting for Roshan. Two guys, two teams.
I've never heard of that.
It's I don't know if it's a classic, but it's a fun name.
I doubt.
Yeah, it's a fun name. The concept is that two guys are just waiting around for Godot and they get kind of stuck in loop and they don't know why they're waiting at all.
Oh.
Which is kind of like here. They're waiting for Roshan on loop and just kind of hang around.
Thank you for the explanation, John. I don't remember asking, but thank you very much for that. I feel like your choices in film and anime and all that crap is just all over the place, John. You've got a vendetta. You're one of those boys, right? You're one of those guys that just doesn't watch anything popular, right? I'm taking a guess, but I can tell already.
You know my taste.
Oh, it is.
You know,
I know your taste.
It's
you don't like the meta. That's what it is. You like to be off meta.
I mean,
you disgust me, John Xfire.
I like stuff like KyoAni stuff. You know, that's pretty meta, although in a specific subset. What is that? To the cultured people who like the genre of CGD, CT. I believe that's a genre I'm very fond of, Mike. You're not aware, but it's a very popular genre.
Nobody knows what you just said, John. I can guarantee nobody knows what you just said. Thank you though for that, John. I appreciate it. Stun is there. They found the Undying once again. In fact, Piols, he's jumped in onto Young PH and they found the puck out. That's going to open up the Roshan nicely here for Omega. YG couldn't really afford to lose bodies like that right now. Prince, he's right in. No ags, but they got the refresh shot available. YG, they just don't have an option. They can't fight now.
Yep. They don't have the opening on YG. They could still try for Ravage Haunt. They've got the information down, but it's such a massive risk playing outside your base, playing a man down with no buyback. And they will just take it slow. Aegis goes the way of Prince. The refresh does go over to our Void Spirit for now, likely to be passed on to our Doom for double Doom, or quad Doom, or no, triple Doom, because you have the refresh orb as well in Van. So it's going to be a lot easier now for Omega to pierce the high ground. They've got all the tools they need. YG still have a way to play around this. They've had the Ags upgrade to Dream Coil for a while. Their Spectre is very tanky up front. They just need to kind of find an angle and not bleed out one by one. Play high ground, play defensively, group up as 5, and kind of hold out for the fact that Omega might slip up here.
Pressure orb up on Van. You've got the double Dooms going as well. Why not triple Doom? I mean, just give the refresh shot over. You know, it's if you Doom 3 heroes in a team fight, I doubt they could really fight for the next 15-20 seconds.
Ooh. Look at that. DD.
What's that, John?
For Prince.
Oh, of course.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
After Roshan. There you go.
After Roshan. Thank you, John. A lot of damage. About 400 per right click. In fact, it's about 500, excuse me. My math's a bit off. Prince. So, not going to take him too long, that's for sure, for this tier 3 tower. Omni Slash and Swift Slash still available. AoE Gush taken by our Rubik, so things get a little bit more annoying for YG now. And they are the ones who need to initiate. Problem is they are lacking buybacks on pretty much all their cores now as the kickback is there. They've got the Jug out of position, but Van's jumped in now. They are going to try and blow up skill lane. They will commit the Doom for him. That'll be one life. They got another onto the Undying now as Prince. He can just get right to work. How though? And Young PH going to be fine as now they have caught out the Juggernaut. And eventually Prince is going to die a secondary time as Piols, he's jumped into boot. Piols, yeah, he's gone. He's got to assimilate. He will eat the cheese. Might actually make it. How? He's going to keep up the chase on this Void Spirit and they get the bash up as well. At the very least, Young PH does die to Van. They are still continuing. Van now wants to jump in. Hero, he is probably not going to survive this, but he is trying. With the phase shift out, he is going to be able to blink away. And Van, well now Van's given up his own life.
That's a big win for YG. Yeah, he went for the 2 supports, and I don't think those were the right ones. We've been talking all game about the 2 targets, Mike. It's the Puck, it's the Tide, it's the Spectre. They do manage to kind of use that opening where Spin is down on the Jug. He can't really use his spells. The Silence, the Control was all stacked into 1 target, and that was enough. I think Omega needed to have P-Alt jump in a bit earlier, get his own silences off to buy the Jug space, but they were clumped up way too fast on top of that 1 hero and managed to clean up. So YG stay in the game. They only lose a melee Rax mid. Nothing else falling down on the high ground, keeping the game state steady. 28-30, 17k lead for Omega. It doesn't mean much anymore, because Hal, sure, he's about 7k behind the Jug. It's not that meaningful for the Jug to be 7k ahead at this point. He's only got 1 item slot left going for the BKB, so now it's all down to how you use your spells, the timing of jumping in, the initiation, the execution. And of course, the Spectre's a lot more forgiving. Even if you stand up front, you're doing damage with your dispersion out. You have the Haunt to kind of bounce around. You are very tanky, even if you get caught out. Prince is having to go back for that BKB because he realizes being controlled is a big issue. The silences just make short work of him. He doesn't have something like the Manta to deal with it. So the BKB is going to give him a second shot at life. But for Omega, this could mean they wait for Rush again. Like, if they couldn't clear high ground with Aegis, chances are they're not going to be able to clear high ground without Aegis, and they're going to have to play it safe, keep shoving out, and have some patience. If they do manage to get a nice pick off, like say you kill off Young PH, that could open up a bit of a push, but that isn't very likely with how Young PH is playing now, just looking to cut waves.
The Aghanim Scepter on the Earth Spirit's now up on skill A. Gonna have the Remnant, at least being able to petrify someone into a Remnant. Very nice. Very concerning for Omega. Like, you had a DD rune on your Jug, you had double Doom, you had Refresher Shard on your Void Spirit, and you just couldn't win the team fight. What happens when you don't have all that? YG. We'll just keep going up top. Like you mentioned, Hal is not going to be too concerned about the net worth disparity anymore between himself and the Jug. Omega. And they do secure a BKB now on Prince. Keep in mind though, no buyback gold for the Jug. Very cautious not to get caught out. I say with the BKB spin, he should be okay. However, in the meantime, they have caught out PLs very far forward on this Void Spirit. He has committed his own BKB to try and escape, and eventually will be able to astral step away, but Skill A is still in the chase with the kick. Is not going to connect, but roll. No, it's blocked off, and he's there to try and save his Void Spirit. But there's your Enchant Totem, or Enchant Remnant. They'll get him. And PLs, in the end, is going to survive.
Yeah, they find a pick off. That's one here with no buyback. 2-minute respawn here for Skill A. So a bit of a vulnerable moment for YG. It does feel like they need that set of stuns, set of silences to help control Prince and kind of catch him off guard. Now, Omega, knowing they have an opening, still having the double Doom ready, might be able to commit for another lane. They are going to have to shove in a wave. It looks like they will follow through with hero down bot and go for the bot set of Rax instead. YG still have good high ground presence. They still have Ravage here ready on Lun. So they've got some plays to make. It's just down to who can kind of hit their BKBs faster here.
We'll see what kind of Doom targets we have here for that. I mean, last time around, Undying Earth Spirit were caught out. You're looking for the Spectre, you're looking for the Park. Can't afford to just waste both the Dooms on both supports. I mean, sure, they're valuable, but not as valuable. We jump in, Ravage is there. They already found Prince on the Jug. He never got the BKB off in time. He'll go for a spin out. I think he needed to commit an Omni, and now Vance jumped in.
Oh no.
Remember when I told you he had no buyback, John, because he bought that BKB?
Yep.
He's got no buyback, John, because he bought the BKB.
That is a big opening for YG. Again, mid, they only lost their melee rack, so they're not going to be completely shoved in. They can still play true mid. They could also just wait for next Roche if they want to play it safe, but they should know maybe they don't have any idea no buybacks back. You don't expect that for this one, right? But the BKB pick, Hero.
Gonna go down as well. YG now should at least be able to approach the high ground. I mean, there are buybacks available on your Rubik and Doom, but without the jug, they're seconds. They might be able to get something done. Keep in mind, Roshan's up in 35 seconds to boot, so they might just wait out that Roshan and just keep the lanes pushed out. But these team fights, these high ground attempts have been, you know, questionable to say the least from Omega. During the lead they had, and still have, the way this game's panned out now for YG, what a great look. That'll be the mid-tier 3 tower, how he'll commit. He wants to try and force back some buybacks here from Omega. PLs. He's going to get caught in that Void Spirit, it looks like. Lun. Make the jump in. Still doesn't have Ravage, though. Won't be able to hold him down. They didn't have Dream Coil either. They can still go for the mid-barracks. Of course, Roshan is now available. That'll be the objective both teams are fighting over next.
YG just playing off the back of big opening. We talked about Omega in this state, Mike. You know, early game they do really well. Their lane phase and their mid-game decisions are pretty darn good. Come late game, it feels like they have a bit of a lost grasp. They might seem a bit unguided in the late game, right? That's the consistent thing we've seen Omega at this point. Every single time they get this point in the game. The Roche is started by YG. It falls really fast to house damage. You've got the full arsenal of the Roshan here. Aegis, Cheese, Refresh, Ags upgrade. You could get that onto How now. You could have the nice Shadow Step coming through, and he does pick it up. Refresh as well, but probably likely to pass that on perhaps to our Tide to kind of have triple Ravage if they have enough mana for that. And you have so much to play with now for YG. Omega, they are playing smoked up, but so is YG. And look for the angle onto the high ground. The defense for Omega is decent, but it still relies on Van getting big Doom targets and on Prince actually using his Omni Slash this time around.
YG, they'll get to the high ground. T3 tower. BKB, they've jumped in, they get the Doom off. It's going to be a double Doom though, as the Lotus Orb was there, but they still got the Spectre. But there is a Lotus Orb, so the Swift Slash will bounce back the wave, the Junk. They might at least get the Aegis here, or maybe not, as the Petrify is out. They have saved the Spectre. No Aegis to be expended. Azor Rain, he might drop, or maybe not yet, but Prince does eventually get him, and now the Ravage again out from the Tide. They'll roll in, back in onto the Junk. Prince, he is starting to get very low in terms of HP, and eventually may just go down here, and does. No buyback. Another Doom is there, but it's only onto Skill Lay. Not exactly a primary target. The Fiend Drip immediately is cancelled off by Young PH. They'll at least get Skill Lay and Lund down. More buybacks to fly out, though, from the side of YG, as Van now is being focused down on the Doom and should eventually just drop here to How and Young PH. They'll go for a bit more. Why the hell not? Onto the Rubik. They'll get another Hero. He's down. Die back for him. I believe that'll be GG.
Yeah, it's a nearly impossible defense for one man against the world here. Well, two heroes against the world. And How does find the last support. Buyback ready on the Bane, but I don't know what the Bane and Void Spirit can do to stop this. And yeah, How just goes for it. No call yet, but not many angles left, Mike.
The Remnant, they're going to catch out the Tide. Piols, he's in onto the Spectre, but Dream Coil is going to hold him down, and with the Aghanim set to Dream Coil, there's no real way out. He'll have to wait. The Fiend Drip is there now from Zenki, but it just doesn't help. He's trying. I mean, you've got to buy back on your Void Spirit if you want to try again, but I mean, this game is well and truly over. YG, and they are desperate for the points right now, as Prince is going to DC. You know, I'll be frank, John, I don't quite blame him.
Yeah, it was a rough one for Omega. They had the lead for such a long time. They were playing very cleanly. And that mistake just stemmed on him, and basically that push in the bot tier 3. He walked up with no vision. He got immediately ravaged. And after the Ravage, he spun, he used BKB while spinning. He didn't use Omni Slash. He didn't use Swift Slash. And
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top barracks are under attack. Dire's Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
Let's get crushing.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under
Decent there. Monster kill.
Will not stop us. Radiant's top barracks are under attack. Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Five went into battle. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban.
Impossible.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
I want to see them make better late game decisions. I think that's where Omega really has faltered
Dire team pick.
throughout the entire Pro Series 9, not just that last game, although the last game kind of highlights that, where the pressure gets to them. Prince
Radiant team pick.
spin BKBs, like it's just not ideal. You needed to use the BKB to get a little bit of a window to pop your Omni Slash, pop your Swift Slash for that invulnerability state to get the advantage, and we need to see Omega play to the bleeding edge. They just kind of falter once the game goes a bit too long, so we'll see if they manage to shake that up. Of course, for YG, a clean win here would drag them up on the upper bracket start and would kind of secure their position there as well. Like, I think that would guarantee almost that they are in the top 4. So they want to go out with a bang, go from 3-2-2 to 4-2-2 in the scoreboard, and kind of run from there. We'll see if Omega will manage to deny that off. Draft is on hand already, Mike. Monkey King to open for Omega. So pretty flexible. That could be our Prince here, could be a support. Although for Omega, I think it has been more common for them to run that core. And Omega is a team that seems to favor first phase double core pickups. So I think we can bank on maybe just Monkey King pause 1, Lina pause 2. Really good scaling now from Omega in both lanes. Very strong heroes to kind of build up. For YG, they've got Mars Lion. They've got that stable Earth Spike into Spear combination, great stuns coming out, good team fight coming out as well. They have a way of shoving the Monkey King off of the Wukong's command circle to break it, kind of take that out of commission as well. So some good plays that can come out from YG. We have seen Lun perform very well on the Mars, and he did have a pretty good game on his Tide last time. So a lot for YG to build up on under Foundation. For Omega, it's one thing when you always open up with your 2 cores, like assuming Monkey King's not going to be flexed. It does give YG a lot of time to counteract. They could look for more ways to kind of deal with a Monkey King, deal with Lina, perhaps gun for something on mid that can overtake the Lina. Very hard to find one of those heroes though. But the Spirit Brothers could be a good choice. Like, sure, laning phase might not be an overwhelming win, but you can just kind of scale up, use your mobility advantage that you will have on the Spirit Brothers compared to the Lina. Jump her first, take her out of commission, and clean up from there.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I think he did once. I think he has. So it's something in his roster that he can pull out, and it kind of plays with your Mars really well, right? The sustainability you have with the Rum buff plays really well with these tanky cores. Could be a good option for YG, Mike. If they want to, they could kind of play it safe, pick up a support first, wait for Omega to reveal more of their hand. They've got the back-to-back picks on Omega, so they're going to have to reveal what lanes they want to run the Monkey King on first anyway, and that will give YG the time to react, adjust accordingly. See the Pangolier taken by YG. Could be our pause 4 with Lion 5. I think that's a preferable way to run it. You could also still run a mid Pango for young PH. Not something you see too often now, but that could be one way to handle the Lina. Just constantly wave clearing out from a mile away, maybe get lucky with a disarm, taking away the Fiery Soul as an aspect of harassment, and just being really durable with Shield Crash. So I don't mind if they flex the Pango mid. It is likely a support. There's also the off chance where you run Mars mid here for young PH, which I'm trying to recall if he's done that. I don't think so. He might have done it in Pro Series 8. So it could also be one way to kind of deal with Lina, just maybe going for an early Bulwark, clearing out the wave with Shield and the Spear could be one aspect as well. Omega, though, getting a lot of value from the Grimstroke pick here, Mike. Lina and Beastmaster, you've got double Laguna, double Roar coming out. Good control, good pacing. Lots of vision coming out from Omega with Hawks and the Monkey King jumping around. And it will be the Kunkka, as you called out earlier, Mike. So YG will pick the young PH Kunkka. Again, something he's run a couple of times. And that should allow them to get a lot of durability. You have Pangolier up front, you have Mars in front. When the Rum buff goes on everyone, it's going to be hard to burst him down. You do have good damage, though, on Omega's side. So the Rum buff might not be enough to save, but it will stall out for some time. And we know YG, they play on the edge. Just a bit of a window in durability will allow them to get a lot more in these engagements.
Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
There's nothing that really comes to mind. I think you're always going to have a bit of a rough time against Beastmaster. You're always going to have a way of piercing through any sort of spell immunity, and you're going to have a great time in lane with Boars. Although again, if it's a Pango 5, you do have some decent wave clearing out boards with a Swashbuckle, or even just a Shield Crash, so that's something YG can leverage. Omega to go into the Storm, so going for a Lina support with a Grimstroke. Storm mid up against Kunkka, baiting out the Kunkka pick now. Kunkka versus Storm isn't too bad for a Kunkka, though. Like, you can still play the lane, you can clear it out well. So it feels a bit greedy from Omega going for this. I think the ideal is actually still running Grimstroke and Beastmaster as a dual lane. You could try to be aggressive with a Monkey King 1 with a Grimstroke 5. Inkswell jump forward can land you some early kills. I think there's a bit more potential stacking slows with the Beastmaster. You know, the Boar slow out, the Stroke of Fate slow out. You can just play that way and be really aggressive on the offlane instead. The Lina Beastmaster just doesn't sound as good in terms of control. You could try to go for the LSA, look for the stuns, but the slow setup might not be enough, especially if you're trying to catch Pango. If Swashbuckle is out, you're probably not going to land that stun. Oh. I think early on, Omega's going to have a really good time with her lanes. They will have to kind of deal with the Beastmaster lane here on YG side. I don't think the TA has a good time regardless. Normally on the pause 1 TA, you go for meld, so you kind of hide in lane, try to get double melds off to zone out. But I think if you do that, you'll just get zoned out completely by the boars. And I think that is a massive risk for YG. So How's got his work cut in half for him. It's going to be a bit of a tough time. I think Omega is going to be able to hit their mid-game spikes quite nicely, run down, get some good push going with the Beastmaster. Even the Lina support can help you in that aspect and just kind of close out the game. I do still feel like YG has kind of the better shot calling, so I think I'd favor YG, but not considering teams draft-wise, I think Omega does come out with a better one.
Meantime, John, got an update that apparently motivates in a best of 5 grand final right now. The next series of the night, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
You don't have bottom with you.
That is a bit of a bind for Motivated Trust. Thai boys playing the finals elsewhere. So there might be a schedule overlap. They might have to... This is all conjecture at this point. There's the possibility they forfeit one game or might have to pass the entire series, as, you know, they're not going to be able to get the enemy team to wait that long. And they've got time as well. They signed up for the schedule. They got the go-ahead for the schedule, so you have to respect the opposing team. It could put Motivated Trust in a bind. There could be... I mean, this could be a long game. You don't really have that ultra-long game stall-out. You tend to see with, say, Arc Warden versus TB, for example. It's the classic late game, never end the game matchup. None of that here, so it shouldn't overrun on the series, and that might put Motivated Trust in the bind. We'll have to see. You never know. YG Omega, they do feel very closely matched. That last game, game 1 did last a bit longer than I think either side expected. So if they kind of play evenly, this could also drag on. Who knows?
Yeah, certainly so. Hopefully for us, John, we're not waiting too long. These teams to finish up their finals. And we are going to have a quick smoke up here for YG. Be for the warding mission. See this pretty much every game from at least one of the teams. I don't believe they're rushing for the mid lane though, so not going for those deep observer wards in that mid matchup, but rather just rotating all the way towards the top lane. They might find Hero here, who is on a bit of a warding run himself. Dead, maybe just going into the triangle now, Omega. They do have Van on watch, but he weren't expecting this from the backside, and here we go. Earth Spike is going to land Van. How do you get out of this one? It's going to be pretty tough. A nice stroke of fade out. A boundless strike to hold them back, and they actually don't have enough.
30 seconds to battle.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, good spell use coming out from Omega to cut off that gank, and that does kind of put them in a slight bind for Omega. Like, you have level 1 Boundless on Prince, not the ideal spell for the Monkey King. Normally you'd want either the Tree Dance or the Jingu, of course, to have that early laning presence, but I guess if you kind of just want to hold that lane, build up, you can just play it safe with the Boundless. Use that to secure some CS and some harassment. Delays the power spike at level 2, and they even managed to get the block away from their small cap. So an even bounty rune trade, a good start for Omega to kind of get their foot in this game. Well, let's see if they can get that good start we saw from game 1. Again, they had a really good time for the first 20 to 30 minutes. Just the late game that fell flat, and I think for Omega, they have to get that early game start if they want to reach that late game this time.
Yeah. We'll start with the bot lane, at least for now. Lun. He's going to run right into Zenki, so he's going to take a bit of damage on the way back to the lane. It is going to be Lun, and of course Skill lane against Zenki. And once again, Prince on the Monkey King. It's not an easy off lane here for YG. I mean, against the Monkey King, he is going to have the advantage. Of course, you have the spear back. If he does proc the Jingu, we are going to have a quick pause out. But yeah, as I was saying, John, the off lane for YG not going to be the easiest.
No, it's that matchup, right? We always talk about it with Monkey King. up against these tanky offlaners. Once you have the Jingu up, you just trade harass really well. Go for the Boundless to heal up once the Jingu's procced. And you have a good time. For YG, they do have a lot of stuns to play with. You can try to go for Earth Spike Spear combinations once that's up and running. I don't think Zenki will give them too many angles to get that done though. And the Monkey King's still pretty mobile. Like, you hit level 3 or level 4, you get a value point from Tree Dance. Not going to be the easiest target to pin down. So I think Omega should have a smooth time in getting Prince's farm up. And Lun has his work cut out for him. Still has to hold out until the levels build up and can't really afford to get too much hits from tower. Does cop quite a few and that's going to hurt him early on. Zenki doing a good job of just standing at the side, spamming the Stroke of Fate, getting the slows off. And if the wave does clump up, it's always going to favor that green stroking the harassment.
Well, they are getting very aggressive here against Prince. We'll have a quick look at the other lanes. Mid lane, Young PH going to be there against POs. So it is currently favoring POs again on the Storm. I think Young PH should still have a decent time in the Kunkka, but when we saw last game around, his Void Spirit, very dominant from Omega Esports. So even if the matchup is supposed to favor Young PH, it may go the other way. As bot lane Lun, he does end up going down for first blood. Skill Lay is going to get stunned up. A nice Fairy Fire there from Zenki, and that'll be a double kill straight off the bat here for the Monkey King.
Big win for Omega in their safe lane, just building up on Prince. They hit that level 2, they get the Tree Dance, they've got the slow, they've got the damage now. Coming up on Omega YG, they've got to hold back. You know, they need to wait for level 2, likely level 3 when you feel more comfy now for the Mars, and just try to get what you can. You can't afford to keep bleeding out to a Monkey King. He will snowball off this kind of start.
And he will. Well, I'm going to go again. They had the Grimstroke this time though, so Zenki is going to go down. Prince unable to help him out, and now Lun, he wants to continue this aggression with the spear out onto Prince. Another Earth Spike going to connect on the Monkey King, but, well, they will at least get his courier. Now Prince still going to survive, just needs some regen on the way back here from his Grimstroke. And while we have another chance, top lane, Hao and Zorain against Hero and Van. The Beastmaster Lina lane does seem quite devastating here for the side of YG, but so far they are dealing with it the best they can. As Hero now is going to get jumped. Zorain setting up a nice kill there for Hal, so apparently not hard enough for YG.
Yeah, that's a strange location to kind of try to juke around for Hero, walking up, getting body blocked instead of heading south. Maybe figuring he'd be cut off by Zorain, so good surround from YG so far. We expected this lane to be a bit tougher for Hao. The kill does help balance that back, but he is lagging behind a bit in CS. This lane is under Van's control with a boar spam. Not much TA can really do early on to counteract it. You do at least have level 2 refraction, so you can block some of the damage, but the slow will still be annoying. The DOT is still going to be annoying as well, and that will mean Hao will have to kind of just focus on the CS. Zorain already at level 3, so it's a good start for Pango 5. You just maybe want to build up some stacks for the TA once level 4 is up, when you can feel confident leaving the lane, and ensure the flash farm will come through here for Hao.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
The Storm Spirit, I mean, he's just having a great time. Piols 20 and 9. No struggles at all against Young PH as he goes in again, just so aggressive. Young PH does have the XTP, but he just committed that earlier on to be able to get a reset going. Meanwhile, top lane, Hero again going to find himself in danger as Hao and Zorain just chasing forward. They won't be able to finish the job though. Salve will fly out from Hero. In the meantime though, Prince finds his 3rd kill of the game as they do kill off Lun. And while Skill Lay, he is chasing down Zenki, but Salve is going to save Zenki's life as now Skill Lay really needs to run. He might still be able to get this, or maybe not. Even dropping a ward just to make sure he gets it.
Where are you watching?
I mean, that ward, I guess it's still kind of useful. And that is some desperation though to get that Grimstroke kill.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bit of an overcommitment. I suppose you don't mind too much. You still find some punishment. A back and forth game already in the first 4 minutes. 8 kills on board, 4-4, very even across both sides. I think you can kind of argue that Omega does have the slight edge here, having a much stronger start on Prince. Just overwhelming. Level 5 already on the Monkey. Power Tread's already up. Orb Venom running. Just having a lot of slow on hand in this lane. Going to be very hard to zone out now for Lun. So you got a good start going there. Even your mid has been lined up. Although Piols
Yep, right back after Young PH. He's going to be able to find the pick-off even against two heroes. Just this Storm does not care whatsoever. PL's just doing a fantastic job. Young PH going to find himself 2 levels behind PL's now, so definitely a bit of a tough position for him as G on the back foot already, 1k behind. The only real great thing going for YG at the moment is the safe lane, where Hal is still doing a great job. YG Van is keeping up quite nicely in terms of CS, so I can't even say it's an outright win here for YG in the safe lane. Just the couple kills that they found on Hero do make it feel that way.
Yeah, it's still important for Hao to find those kills, but the big issue is that Zalrain's forced to stay in the lane. He's not really able to get too many stacks. They are starting to build up some now, but you need to secure that flash farm. Nice kill once more for Prince. That is kill number 5 for a Monkey in 6 minutes. Too much going out for a Monkey King. He is going to be off to an overwhelming start, and your Mars is set for a pretty slow start himself. No phase boots up, no soul ring. Just trying to finish up those phase boots, which means your blink is going to be delayed. You might have to go for the Yules for self setup. Not what you want to see. And the fact that he's not even getting more EXP than his plus 4 is a worrying sign. So level 6 spike can be stalled out, and that just gives Omega a lot more angles to play with here.
I mean, Prince has actually got more XP than the mid-conker. That's how badly the game's going for YG at the moment. That's problematic. That's your mid laner behind the safe lane of the enemy team. Lun, still at level 5. He's just so susceptible, and they might just keep shutting him down. PL's is here. He's not a hard kill to get. Vortex is out. Promise bring in with the silence, and Inkswell. Well, they'll give the kill over this time to the Storm. I think Prince did want it for himself, but he's already had 5. He'll be all right.
Yeah. Pass it on to PL's. Nice rotation out for Storm. Will allow our Storm to start building up even more as well. Inside of Omega off to an overwhelming start, and PL's isn't even done. He's still hanging around.
Yeah, just might dive for skill, eh?
Where are you watching?
He won't dive that far.
That's how it's done.
And on the bright side for YG, Hao is still in the jungle now and really escalating in terms of farm. And even with all those kills going the way of this Monkey King, Hao might actually overtake him very, very soon. There's no real problem here. You always can rely on the TAs. We are going to have another pause from YG.
I think the
issue is this time around.
I think the problem for YG, specifically for Hao, is that there are not many stacks. There was like 1 large camp stack in the jungle, not much in the triangle. That was spotted out by PL, so they already cleared out most of it. And that means the instant advantage for Hao is it's not quite gonna be there. Still, it's a good sign that Hao is still within 100 gold of the Monkey King despite all the kills. So you still have a game to play here on the side of YG. The Dragonlance basically finished up, I think. It's flying in, so you're gonna have a little bit more presence, speeding up the farm just a bit faster. Vision coming through from Omega to watch that. Still with the top lane free. Van, he's got the Dominator up. He can look for the push himself and just kind of start to take over that top jungle. He will need backup. Could try to force in by himself, but Zalrain is fairly tanky and can kind of clear out the creep wave in a fairly straight fashion, although.
Oh, top lane, Zalrain. End up dropping here. Van able to just commit the roar. The helm of the Dominator creep just takes the kill. No problems, as he will go on to that tier 1 top tower. Yeah, the thing is that they're always going to have access to just defend the bottom tier 1 here if you're Omega. It's kind of hard not to when you've got Prince this farmed up. And he's looking for more kills, it seems like. Lun gonna get silenced up. In the meantime, they did at least kill off Hero on the opposite side of the map, but this Mars is going to have an even rougher time now as Lun. He's going to try to run, but it's a Monkey King you're against. Very hard to expect him to run away. And it'll be another kill there for Prince. Top lane in the meantime, Zalrain was being chased down by Van, but eventually he will give up on the chase. Mid lane though, they found PLs. Hex is going to make it in time, and it looks like they might at least have themselves a valuable kill, or maybe not. He will be able to get away thanks to the Inkswell of Zenki. They'll even get skill laid down. It's Young PH. He's going to run. Fortunately, empty-handed here for YG.
Yeah, it's Tough commitment from YG. They get punished for it. Omega just leveraging their movement quite nicely. It felt like they might have had the kill on Storm, but the save coming through from Zenki just in the nick of time. Let's turn that around, and Zenki will even be able to deny off the Arcane Rune. All Storm's behind still. Prince?
He's been caught out. He's going to try and go for a run, and they can't actually finish off the kill, so Lun, he might die another time here as PLs will take another kill. Prince just barely getting out with his life intact. I mean, he's got a lot of kills underneath his belt, but he still has to be cautious about that Arena Spear combo, especially if Hal's around on that TA. Can certainly help with the damage output, and well, Hal is top of the net worth board right now, believe it or not, so things still going swimmingly as Hero, for the fourth time this game, is going to get caught out, this time by Zorain.
Yeah, managed to get a good kill onto the leading support, not the biggest target in the world. Prince going to be in time for the defense. Zorain has no mana. He should be a bit cautious playing there. Does have a self to regen, but Prince goes in.
Yeah, he has gone in. See Young BH, Boundless Strike going to be out. Young BH is going to be another death. However, down at bot lane, PLs ends up dropping a How. They try to get aggressive onto the TA, but Skill Lane was around to help. It's a bit of a trade across the map, and when you compare the Kunkka to save the Storm, I think you'd be kind of happy with that trade as YG.
You'll take it. That's a pretty big streak to take out from the Storm. You kind of build up on how you're hitting your spikes and keeping up on your TA. So Desolator timing still looking good. Big issue is that Van is just rotating mid now, and he's got that Dominator, he's got the max level Boars. The push can come out quick.
Van, he's going to be fine. They did not get the torrent off. They won't be able to lock the Beastmaster down. Van should have a pretty decent timing for the helm of the Overlord. And he isn't spending too much time farming now, but he'll still be able to secure it as Omega. So how they go, Ixwell's going to be there. PLs will have a very easy setup, but they do not have detection. So Zorain's going to show up. He'll be able to swashbuckle and just Rolling Thunder. Hero unable to get the job done, and now YG's going to show up. We'll get another kill onto the laner as PL's going to zip back the other way. Should be just fine to make it out as he does have enough mana. In the meantime, I suppose Van is pushing in the mid-tier 1 tower, but isn't really going to be able to commit as YG is going to be there to defend.
Giving a lot of space out to Prince to keep this farm game going. Still in the lead in terms of net worth. Not by a huge margin, but enough to kind of at least have an early item advantage once the Maelstrom's up. So your Monkey King's working top jungle quite nicely. YG's forced to respond with multiple heroes to save Hal. He's losing out a little bit more on that farm efficiency. And oh, Prince just goes in again.
Why not? It's a free kill. Just needs to land the Boundless Strike, and that'll be the 8th kill for Prince here. Of course, you got to keep in mind he's going to be careful not to throw the streak away later on. And he's getting a very quick Maelstrom timing with this Echo Saber. So it's still just going fantastic here for Omega, as now Zenki bot lane may get caught. It's just a support kill, and he actually almost kills off Lun in the process. It's just how tough of a game Lun's had in this Mars. Regardless, though, they do at least get Zenki down.
It's not the biggest kill. You are just trading supports at this point, but it's more important for YG. You know, they're playing the catch-up game, and you're trying to hit this blink timing in Lun because of that kill, because of him being AoE. It's going to be up relatively soon, despite that slow start. So you're going to have more impact on the Mars. You've got the Desolator as well on How. He's going to be able to get a lot of damage off. And they even have the armlet done on Young PH, so he's going to be more survivable up front, do much bigger hits for the Tidebringer as well. I think YG should be ready to play around that. Still a smoke out from Omega, 3-man smoke. Field, Zenki, and Hero looking to make a play down bot, and if they find How, that could be big.
Playing him now. Zorain, he's not going to be around to break the smoke. Instead, PL should be able to go for the jump in. Ixwell's there as well, and this time they will catch him before the meld. No invis out from How, and that'll be a mega kill streak going to the way of PL's now on that Storm. Gold, getting the momentum. In a 3k advantage now. Van's just about to have the helm of the Overlord up. And you're hitting a perfect timing here. Though Prince is going to get a little bit aggressive top lane. Lun is going to just melt. Prince, though, can you get out now? He may not be able to and does end up going down. Zorain will take the streak on the Pango.
Yeah, that's a pretty big kill to give out from the side of Omega. That's a good gold swing coming back the side of YG, and they're going to be happy with that. Finally getting a 9 streak out from our Monkey King. Keeps them in the game. 15 to 10, 3k lead still stands for Omega. You are still 1k ahead on Prince's farm compared to How, but you are giving openings here. YG, again, with the Deso spike on How, this could be that Roshan could open up if they find some room to get some space on a map. You could also just start clearing out these stacks a lot faster. Ancient stack to be taken by How. He is under Zenki's vision. Just kind of watches as his bounty rune is snagged away, but they don't have the backup to punish the TA just yet.
Now YG gonna make a play here, just making sure How does remain protected as Zenki gets slowed up. It should be a nice easy Grimstroke pickoff, but Piot is around to try and help out, and now with the Laguna and the Soulbind, they both get blown up. How he tried to come in and get something done, but there's really nothing he can do to help at this point. In terms of the farm game as well, How he's just not farming fast enough. I mean, Prince is still top of the net worth board, and the Overlord is here, so Van, this Ancient Black Dragon, should be able to just group up with the team now, and it's just very hard to imagine YG being able to stop them.
It's a tough time to stall out the push from YG's end. They still have really good team fight coming through with Arena and both, but we haven't seen the full combination fly out yet. They have the blink on Lun, so they can blink Arena, set up for the Kunkka spells quite nicely, and maybe even get a couple of good rolls off. It's just that Omega aren't giving any big plump ups for them to play against that. So no openings for them to really get their power spike going in these engagements. Just gonna have to play a slow game, keep building up on How. Blink Dagger is gonna be up. That is the TA spike. Blink, Dezo, Power Treads, Dragonlance. The TA hits very strong. I think they need to take a team fight now for YG and go into Roshan with a numbers advantage.
DH. The safety of his jungle, but not really too safe, as still got Prince around, and we've seen Prince. He just drops the Wukongs, gets the balance, and somebody's gonna die. He's gonna show himself in the lane. Young PH gonna go for the X back, and immediate mass TP's coming into the top lane. Prince, can you find your way out? This is not how you want to play it. On we go. Just find more now.
Yeah.
How are they not grouping up, John? I don't understand it. You've got Helm the Overlord, you're trying to farm BKB, I understand, but
I'm not sure. I'm really actually not sure. That was the numbers advantage YG needs. Sure, Young PH might get picked off, but he has opened up Roche. That's Roar, that's Laguna down, and Roshan's now completely free. Right there are no threats of spells coming in. With the Deso up, How's going to be clearing out this objective quick. The mid-tier 2 will cop some damage, but they're still fortified to stall. So Aegis up on How. Can be very protected in front, and they can try to take this follow-up fight.
Oh, Piols. Rightio. Well, we're going to find another. TP away from Hero, not going to make it. And suddenly YG's back into the game. How, top of the net worth board. Back into the triangle. Who else have we found? They are going to find the Pango, but Van is going to get caught. And yeah, neutral kill is there. Zorain is going to drop to the jungle, and Van, yeah, you've got to ask yourself, is it worth going for the Pangolier when you know they're running at you? Ultra kill out for How.
Yeah, this TA hits its spikes. It rode through the slower laning phase. It got farm in the jungle, died once, and now it's built up. BKB rush next for How. You will still have the Roar through the BKB, so it's not the be-all end-all for How to protect himself, but it'll still complicate the engagement for the side of Omega. YG close out the net worth lead down to just 2k. It wasn't too big anyway to begin with. Very playable still for YG. And Omega now have to they have to avoid making these mistakes. We've seen Omega go off to really strong starts and then just get maybe a bit too cocky or too confident in these engagements. It always costs them. It gives openings to the enemy teams. YG managed to find that opening with a kill on Prince first, and now, you know, they can start clumping around. Their TA's big, still has Aegis. They've got the Blink Arena. They've got the Armlet Kunkka, BKB up soon for Young PH as well. There's a lot of ways to play this, but the smoke is here from Omega.
Yeah, zip in. They've got the Pango. Stun is out. Skill A, Raw as well onto the TA. Zorain. He's gone immediately as now Hal will be targeted. They should be able to get at least the first light, though you do have Lund. Nice push away with the spear. That'll be the Wukong's gone, and now I don't know if they can really keep the fight up. Van, he's been trapped up and is probably going to drop, as they might be able to go for more now. And they will. Prince force the BKB up himself. That'll be about it though. Still another win for YG. A very forced team fight for Omega. PLs, sir. Oh, he's gonna maybe find the line, but Go on, John, analyze the fight.
He was camping around, playing with a vision, and he figured he could outplay them, but underestimates the number advantage, gets punished for it. YG, they had to buy back in their Pango. It's still very worthwhile. They dragged the lead down to just less than 1k ahead for Omega. They've got Hao now number 1 with TA, and they're just going for more Zenki now, down bot.
Yeah. Last go there for YG. BKB now up on Hal. Net worth lead has swung. Dota plus. I mean, you look at the graphs, John. Bit of a dip the way of YG. Omega not having the greatest time, and YG's 9-2-1 on Prince. Those two deaths were just so impactful. I mean, especially the last one.
Yeah, they built up a huge kill streak on Prince. He drops, and then, you know, the gold lead bounces back, and then he kind of just dies in the middle. They can't contest Roshan. They start fighting pickoffs in YG's end. You are about to hit the major power spike for Hao. I mean, he's got the BKB, 9-second charge ready to go on TA. Again, you've got Roar on Omega to kind of deal with that, but you've got to see Van able to commit and kind of time it against that BKB use. So Blink going to be important now for Beastmaster. Van just going to hold back and try to farm that up. Once you've got the Blink, you can maybe take control of that TA in these fights. You do feel that YG have a nice spike back. They're very durable with the BKBs up. They've got the Varum buff there. They've got good area control. The arena, in comparison to the Wukongs, it just locks them in a lot better. And they do a lot more damage with Hao. Like, Monkey King takes a bit longer to hit its major damage spike after the laning phase. Hao already has that spike.
YG, 5-man smoke up now. Omega. They have plenty of vision around this area. However, Hero immediately caught out on the support Lena. Gonna die to Hao. They can just go for more now. The YG, they're gonna keep holding this high ground in this dire jungle. The Van just waiting for the right moment. Lun, he'll jump in. Orchid is there though to silence him up as now. They've got the Hex out in the Storm. They've got the X back as well, but he's gonna be able to zip away. No dying quite yet for Piols as the Soulbind is out to boot. Zorain gonna force the BKB out of Prince, and in the meantime, Piols is gonna jump skill A, but the Hex is there again as Lun is gonna get the arena into the spear. They'll take down the Storm. There goes your Lion, but who the hell cares? He's already done his job, and now Van will drop to boot.
Yeah. YG, again, just finding the angle, making it work. Omega, they managed to get a good roar. They couldn't follow up on it, and the engagement was just a bit too staggered. Sure, they forced the buyback on the Mars. YG doesn't mind. They know the game's all about Hao. They just want to enable Hao. They even get a free courier somehow. Lunch is seeing that in Secret Shop. So finding everything here in YG's end. Omega, they're losing that lead. 3k lead now for YG, 22-23. So a 2-2-2-3 reverse 32-22, Mike.
Oh.
And YG now just take control of the triangle, keep building up. The Crystallis timing's coming up soon, and this TA is going to be a massive issue. They don't have disarms. They don't have the best control outside of Orchid Roar. So I think Hao, if he plays his cards right, he's just going to be unstoppable in the front line.
They're just grouped up YG. They must know they've got the advantage right now. Omega. They seem to know Prince is around this tree line. Prince does back off at the right moment.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Well, Omega, they have grouped up. Spear, oh, just barely off the mark there. Prince is going to be able to get away. And what's the game plan now for Omega? Like, you're still in the game, but the way these fights have been playing out certainly doesn't seem very favorable.
No, I think you need to get double roar, so Zenki Soulbind has to be on point. Van needs a blink to be able to gap close and avoid the initial fight, although Young PH
gets caught in the Wukongs. Maybe they can burst him down, but no, the spear's there again. Prince, he doesn't pop the BKB. Arena down. BKB's out now. Young PH, he does not care about the Jingu Mastery. He will just keep rushing Van. In the meantime, PLC is trying to go after this Lion. He will be able to get him. They've lost Young PH. He's gone too far. You've still got Hao around, and there goes Hero. Into Zenki they go. That'll be a Grimstroke gone to boot. Still not a bad team fight in the end, though. At least for Omega. 3 for 4. A 2 for 3. They at least found the mid-conquer to boot, so I suppose you call that a win for Omega Esports.
I'd say it's not too bad. You managed to force YG to kind of play back and forth there. They don't find the perfect angle to punish the Monkey King. They don't even kill off Van, as they kind of gave up in that chase. Focus a bit too split, although Van now, seeing that.
Yep. Can't win a team fight. Van. He'll drop. That'll even things out quite a bit better. Roshan's up at 25, so the timing's quite nice there for the kill onto Van here for YG. Omega, they're at least going to find this double damage room before YG do, so that's good news for them in this upcoming Roshan fight.
It is as tradition states, though, Mike. Double damage right before Roche, not completely patched out of the game. So, Omega, I don't think they're in a position to go for Roshan themselves. Like, they've got the damage and the Monkey, sure. Because Roche taking isn't that fast, and Lun.
Yeah, Spear not going to land. Prince, he's going to try and get himself out. Arena, not going to be there in time. Prince, he does at least force out the Arena usage, and it'll be enough. Roshan is officially up. YG, we want to group up, smoke up perhaps. Omega.
Well,
nope.
YG's got the vision advantage. There are no Hawks watching Roshan for some reason, so they might not be quite sure that it's up early. YG does have the trap watching, taking their time. They've got the Crystallis up on Hao. They could just fight. I think Arena's going to be up in a timely manner anyway. For the team fight inside, you've got the boat to save. Kind of need to just stand outside and bail out the TA if she does get caught out. But they will play conservatively. Just take it slow. Maybe get some more build-up. Maybe clear out all the tier 3 neutrals first before inside engages. But Hao finds the haste and does just go straight in. So not having the DD this time, but should be able to still get a good clear on a Roshan. And the side of Omega still somehow don't have vision there.
No, apparently not. Not with the Beastmaster on their team. So they're going to start a fight on the other side. Van going to commit the Roar. X is still there though, so Van is still kind of screwed as the Arena now down. Zenki going to avoid the spear, but they've got the Beastmaster and Zenki's going nowhere anyway. Prince, is this the time to force the fight, sir? I don't know if it is. Wukong's command is there. They're going to try and at least burst down Lun. Piols, he's going to zip through to the backline onto the Lion, and we'll have enough damage for him. The buybacks are coming in from Zenki. In the meantime, Lun still alive, kills off Hero, and Prince now force the BKB TP away. Is going to be able to make it out. Age is still intact for Hao, though.
And,
I'm going to turn around. He wants to die back here on this Lion and isn't going to get it.
It's unfortunate for Piols. That was a BKB charge, so it's down to 8 seconds. That was his fresh BKB. Lion kill that doesn't come true. Unfortunate for Omega. YG getting everything they want there. He's just going to be able to rip through the mid tier 2. Top tier 2, mid tier 2 under pressure as well with a creep wave from Young PH. And Omega Still playing on back foot. They could maybe jump one of these heroes if they are isolated. Young PH is a bit forward from the rest of his team, but they're not confident. Perhaps once the Beastmasters back up with Roar, could feel a lot better here.
Light Strike Array, Boundless gonna land onto Hal. Again, he still has the Aegis up, so no real fear for the TA. Eels, meanwhile, kind of getting in position, waiting for that line to open up as Young PH does get stunned up. They'll zip in with the Roar out, but Arena is down. They caught the Storm. They might lose their Kunkka, but they do get PL's return. He can commit a buyback though, as now they even found the Monkey King. Hex is out, they use him up. In the backside, they have got Lund, but he's taking 0 damage right now from this Lina. And it's looking like a good team fight, at least for YG. But now the buyback is there from our Storm. Prince, he is forced to BKB TP, but no, the spear, it is going to land right in the nick of time. They found Zenki. PL's now is completely without mana and is going to try and TP, but he is down. Might be, yeah, we might be approaching that time. As Zorain, well, he's going to drop. Hal, though, is still going to be able to clean up Van. I think that the slows are quite intense here from these balls. Now he's gone for it, and he should get it, and does. Very nice.
Great kills coming out from YGM. They trade 4 for 4 in the end, but they hold on to Aegis with How. 2 minutes still left running onto that somehow. And he has the full Daedalus up. So How's damage output's ridiculous. He's going for the Swift Blink next. And even with that sort of exchange, you have no answer for TA. You need a disarm here. You're going to need a Heaven's Halberd up somehow. That is being farmed up by Van, but it's still a long way off. And until then, I think How just has complete control in these engagements. He out-damages the Monkey right now. And they have all the control for the Storm. Fields has to be on point with his BKB use. So I think he has to be preemptive with the BKB when he jumps in, just because you've got the line, you've got a Hex to worry about. And How will just get to work. Creep Wave coming in, respawns are coming up, but so are his teammates. And I think he just knows he's very strong. He still has 2 lives, he doesn't have too much to worry about.
Needs his team to back him up, though. Gonna get a bit of chip damage, but we'll back off. You did force out a few buybacks there from Omega, and the main one being the Storm Spirit, of course, so always come back after another team fight and try for that high ground. What's Prince going for now? He's pretty farmed up. 1 item on the way, it looks like. It's gonna be the Crystallis, so maybe a Daedalus build up. Maybe even the Silver Edge if he really wants, but it does feel like it's going to be a Daedalus.
Yep.
Makes enough sense.
Choose it up.
It's a bit of a zip onto Young PH, but the Invis Rune, he was always just fine.
Yeah, and I think the stall out, I mean, Omega still had some good spikes to hit. You talked about Prince a bit. He is racking up the damage. I think the next spike is, again, Van with the disarm is going to be big to hold off the damage from TA. And maybe a sort of Ags built from PL can also work out. Gives them more AoE control, which they do lack. But they just don't have much in way of area control outside of Light Strike Array. Maybe you could count Soulbind with Double Roar or the Inkswell to an extent, but it's just not very reliable. Omega will smoke up. They could try to make a play here. They've got Hawk Vision to play around here.
Prince. The Hawk dive, but ended up cancelling that one off. Omega not quite finding the target they wanted to make the jump on, but they are going to see Young PH down at the bot lane. Scan also out onto the high ground of the triangle. Young PH, though, still going very far forward. He's going to X himself, but Prince is just waiting in the wakes. They make the jump in, roar out as well. They've got it. That's way too far. For the Kunkka and Omega, I mean, they'll take a pretty big pick up themselves.
Yeah, they're staying in the game. They find the Kunkka kill, stalling out YG's progression on the map. YG right now, they're fully kitted up on How. This is the point where the TA has to play fast because there's not much room for further itemization in Hero. You could maybe argue for a Hex or a Nullifier next, but you are basically at endgame. So I think for YG, that's the point where you have to make some moves, go for the high ground, go for objectives, because eventually the Monkey King will be able to get more, right? Like the Daedalus is coming true for Prince. He can still sell off the Echo Saber. He can still kind of upgrade the Maelstrom as well, although...
Piols.
What?
Yeah, very aggressive blink there, or rather zip there from Piols. He's going to pay for it immediately, and that was a dieback on our Storm. So a bit of a similar incident to what young PH had down at the bot lane. Both mid laners kind of making that same error as now. So you want to try and force the fight. Earthspike's going to be there onto Van, but Prince is going to bound and strike out. They haven't really got a target as Hal just blinked down and looks to reinitiate back in onto the Beastmaster and Van. He can't even get the roar out in time. Be another hero down with that buyback here for Omega. And this should mean high ground for YG.
Opens it up for them. Got a 40-second window without the Storm, 70-second window without the Beastmaster. That does take a lot of the team fight away of Omega, and her hold is kind of put on the back foot. So YG, you're gonna play it safe. Shove out mid first, equalize the lanes. They've got their Kunkka spawn back in. Young PH will play the bot lane, and they could just kind of hook up after shoving in a bit, getting themselves some advantage here. DD comes out for Hao as well. Does not have a bottle on hand, so not going to be able to stall that one out, but I believe he did buy a bottle out. So he's flying in a bottle for himself to ensure that he's got the DD pocketed up for whenever he could use it. And Roshan might respawn early. We'll see in 5 seconds when that timer will be. If it does stay to tradition, with the DD up, it should respawn soon. Yeah, instant. What? No way.
Beautiful.
DD into instant Roshan. That's nuts.
Beautiful. We're going now onto that Roshan pit. Very, very quick. Aghanim Scepter up now. They will give it over to Hal. Not wanting the Torrent Storm, but rather will take the, well, I suppose the global presence with the traps is just way better anyway. They do go into it now very confidently here, YG. With a 22-1 TA. Not really too much to be afraid about. Onto the high ground they go. Double damage active as well for Hal, so this tier 3 tower just is not going to last, as Omega apparently are not in the base ready to defend either.
Oh no.
Now on Arena down, who have they caught? It's going to be Prince.
No buyback.
No buyback. Imagine that. Onto the tier 3 tower we go.
Oh boy. Without the Monkey King, the defense just way too hard. He's a lot of great damage, and look at how.
Yeah, Zenki about to drop. They'll zip in. Prince getting caught by the spear here. They might go for the tier 4s. In fact, never mind, they'll go for the bot lane at Barracks. Now that's Van actually they're beating up right now on that Beastmaster, and well, he's definitely gone as zip in is there. Piols going to try and help out. They'll get Lun on that Mars. Piols still trying. The BKB is going to wear off. And Lun, or rather Hal, he'll just keep going for more, but will be forced to back away from Zenki. But they'll get a bottom racks. They still have plenty of time to go get the Megas here for YG. But they'll go for the tier 4s instead. I mean, they realize there's no need to waste their time going for Megas, I don't think. Onto the line we go again. Piols doesn't really have the tension though to try and deal with this line, so he will survive through the Orchid. And eventually I think Hero might just die here as Zorain gets started. Young PH gets the X-Off, still zip in. Piols still trying to kill off Skill Lay. In the meantime, he'll just keep going after the Ancient, just looking to finish off the game. And this is GG. No defense to come out. Omega, they can't do it. YG will eventually get the 2-0 victory.
Yeah, YG. They looked a bit rocky in game 1, looking a lot better in game 2. They had a bit of a slower start in lanes, but they hold out, build up on Hao, and they find some really big kills. I think Omega this time made a couple of noticeable mistakes.